2, 3, 4. Hello, it's Phil, the Worship Survival Guy, with this month's video email to worship leaders and the people who love them. This one, I think it's about forgiveness. Why focus on forgiveness for Christian leaders and worship leaders in particular? Well, much of our church culture is toxic. It wounds us deeply. And unforgiveness is a predator that feeds on wounded hearts. It turns our songs into silence. Unforgiveness is a worship killer. Quick story. After a service, a visitor grabbed my guitar, then he dropped it. The neck split from the head. He just laughed and said, "You're a pastor, you have to forgive me." I never saw him again. But in the form of a parable, that guy has been breaking my guitar for decades. And I know it's not just mine. I've heard mind-blowing stories from you. I was talking to a worship pastor that any church would love to have on staff. Crazy about God, crazy about His Word, has shepherd's heart, rich talent, a decade of experience. His administrative pastor, or the corporate background, forces this guy to log 30 hours at a cubicle every week. At the same time, he still needs at least 50 hours, hands-on, to prepare a zillion details, work with volunteers, and get the gear together to make worship shine for 1,500 people. The cubicle time bloats his job up to over 80 hours. That doesn't leave him much time to spend with his wife, his kids, his friends, a community group, and maybe get a little sleep. But wait, there's more. The staff culture at this church rewards whistleblowers. So one catches the worship leader taking a long lunch to set up his platform for the weekend. And the boss cites him for being absent from his desk during business hours. Our guy is written up for pastoral misconduct. With the guy on probation, the elders begin to view him as a liability. Now it's an 80-hour plus job in a no-win, stress-filled environment where no one has his back. It sounds insane. But sadly, this is normal stuff. At Standing Stone, we see the church eating leaders like Pac-Man. Now, we're not superheroes who fix spiritual abuse. We're just servants who help bind up broken hearts. Remember the old song, "The wrongs we have done and the wrongs done to us are nailed there with Him, there at the cross"? At the cross, God drops His charges against us, and we drop our grudges against others. At the cross, Jesus retunes our hearts, not to A440, but to Ephesians 4:32. Forgive one another, even as God for Christ's sake has forgiven you. What does it look like to pay forward God's grace? Here are 5 lessons that I've found valuable. Number 1, forgiveness doesn't make the injury less painful or less valid. Please don't minimize what you're forgiving. Call it by its real name and tell Jesus exactly how you feel. You might need a safe friend. You might need a multitude of counselors to help you sort it out. Number 2, forgiveness doesn't mean you have to stand there and let the abuse continue. Paul endured some beatings, but he also ended one by asserting his rights as a Roman citizen. There's a time to overlook an offense, and there's a time to issue a formal report. Number 3, forgiveness isn't the same as reconciliation. Some people are genuinely eager to reconcile. That's a good sign. Others come all puckered up to deliver a Judas kiss. That's a bad sign. Reconciliation is complicated. Number 4, forgiveness is a process. It might take a long, long time. You probably don't know how deep the pain actually goes. You see the tip of your unforgiveness, but like an iceberg, there's more that's under the surface. So, shave off the part of the iceberg you can see. If more of it surfaces tomorrow, do it again. A post-it note on your mirror can be a big help. 5, and finally, forgiveness brings you very, very near to the heart of God. Never are you more clearly revealed as a child of God than when you, empowered by the Holy Spirit, deliberately forgive those who have hurt you. Forgiveness is thorny stuff, but Jesus is the King who wore a crown of thorns while he begged God to forgive his tormentors. He tunes our hearts to 432. Luthiers fix dropped guitars, but it's Jesus who heals our broken hearts. In these minutes, we've only touched on a huge subject. But this I know, for many of us, spiritual health will begin with a single step of deliberate forgiveness. If you need someone to help you take that next step, that's why I'm here. That's why Standing Stone Ministries is here. No charge, one-on-one, confidential. Visit my website, fill out the contact form, and write forgiveness in the subject line. I'll get right back to you. Again, this is Phil, the Worship Survival Guy. And remember, keep the praises going, but don't go it alone.